take just a moment to go ahead and circle any important words that you are hearing in that poem. Who can tell me one of the words that they circled? Okay, good. What else? Okay. So two of the words that you had are two of the words that I had too. I had city and I had home because I see those lots and they seem pretty important to this story. But I'm trying to decide whether city or home is more important. What do you think? Okay. I also think that a more important word is the word home. So I'm going to put that right here. Now I'm trying to figure out what is it that is about home in this poem. So think about the speaker and the characters. How does the speaker feel about home in this poem? Turn to the person next to you and go ahead and share how you think the speaker feels about home in this poem. Okay, who can tell me? Right, I saw that too, where it says happy to be alive and in the inner city. So I think too that they feel happy. Okay, let's go ahead and think about the setting. What is the setting of this piece? Yeah, it was the other word that we were considering, is in the inner city. I do see something in here that I think is going to more play into the plot here, where it says, we think a lot about uptown, and the silent nights, and the houses straight as dead men, and the pastel lights, and we hang on to our no place. So I'm thinking the part of the conflict, I guess it's more of a conflict, is the idea that there's the difference between uptown and the inner city. Because you can see that uptown is described silent and pastel lights, also houses straight as dead men. And the city is described as no place. I'm gonna write that up here. Is there a plot? Is there much that happens? I see those words too. Hang on to no place. Okay, so now kind of have this figured out, and I'm going to move back to thinking about what was learned about home. So when I think about this poem, is the person happy about living in the inner city or sad? Okay, good. What I'd like you to do is go ahead and write one theme statement just on a scrap piece of paper at your desk. Take about 10 seconds to do that. Okay, who can share some of what they had? Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and write that up here. So you said that they like living where they are. And I think that's right. Let's see if we can tie it back to home a little bit more specifically. So if we say home is home, even if it is not the best place ever. Even if it's no place, it's still home to you. Give me a thumbs up if you agree with this statement. Yeah, I know you don't want to do that. But okay. So still generally we think that this is true, right? Okay, what I'd like you to do is now you're going to work in groups of 3. You know your groups, and I'd like you to look at the next page of poems. You get to choose from The Secret Heart or The Rose That Grew from Concrete. And you as a group are going to work to fill out your chart identifying what you think is the most important word, thinking about as many of these things that exist in your poem, because it's possible that not all of them will, because we're working on poems, we're not working on narratives, and then coming up with one sentence that captures the theme. I'll go ahead and give you about 5 minutes to work on that. And I am just going to have you pause the video until you're done, so you can come back to that. Thank you. At this point in time, we would go ahead and we would talk through what students had shared, and we would work through a little bit more of making sure that people are really using these pieces to be able to pull out the theme, and that the most important word, the one word, was getting written out into a sentence. That is impossible to do in the teleconference situation, so I'm just going to go ahead and move on to my introduction of independent practice, and then I'll pretend like you're doing that and then close out. Okay, so now we have a pretty good understanding of how to find that most important word and how to translate that most important word into a theme that really is what it is that we learned in the poem or in the story. Even if we don't agree with that sentence, that's still what the author wanted us to learn. Okay? So now what I'd like you to do is, as you do your independent reading of poetry today, you get to choose one poem that you are reading that you pull out the most important word from. You figure out how the pieces relate to it, and then you write your theme statement. You should be thinking about this with all of your other poems as well, but go ahead and just choose one that you're actually going to complete your organizer on. Any questions? Okay, now I'd give students a chance to read, do their own thing, and then we come back at the end and wrap up. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, thank you. Good. Okay, so today we learned that you can identify the theme of a poem by thinking about the most important word and identifying what the author wanted you to learn about that word by thinking about the speaker, the conflict, the setting, and the plot. Anything else in the poem that is related to that word. Good readers are always on the lookout for themes and for important words, because what we want to do as good readers is understand what it was that the author was trying to tell us. All right, we're going to wrap up. What I'd like you to do is go ahead and look at your partner. In just 1 minute, you are going to talk to your partner for 1 minute about what was hardest about finding the theme and how you think this will help you in the future. On your marks, get set, go. Then after students shared, we would go ahead and come back and talk about what it was that they had learned. And that is my lesson. Thank you very much.